Hi everyone, Jenna Marty here. I am going to talk about something that is super near and dear to my heart and something I am super passionate about, and that is love. If you know me, I absolutely love love. I've always been like a kind of hopeless romantic, um, and just I get all like giddy with talking about love, hearing other people's love story. But one thing that's super important is making sure that you're speaking the right love language to your loved ones. So whether it's like your spouse, your children, friends, family members, coworkers, business partners, it's all super important to be making sure that you're speaking the right love language. So there's a book by Gary Chapman. It's called The Five Love Languages. And I read it, I don't know, a few years ago. I was introduced to it, and I recommend it to so many people. Everybody should know their love language, or if you're going through like a hard time in a relationship, I highly recommend it to people to kind of help make sure that you're speaking the right language. So there's five of them. I'm going to go in depth a little bit into each one, and give you examples of different ways that each love language speaks, I guess, and share a little bit about like what mine is, because what yours might be and what you're speaking, what love language you're speaking to other people might not be their love language. So you're doing all the things and thinking that you're showing them love, but their love language is completely different. So they're not seeing that love in return, and that's where a lot of people run into issues, I guess, if you will. So there's five of them, and then the first one's quality. They're in no order here. Quality time, physical touch, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, and acts of service. So those are the five, and usually you have like a primary love language, and then there's like a secondary one. If you go to fivelovelanguages.com, there's a quiz. So you can take a quiz to find out what yours is. I encourage you to find out what like your spouse, what their love language is, and then your kids as well. But I'm going to read a quote here from the book that says, from Gary Chapman, is the five love languages. He says, love can be expressed and received in all five languages. However, if you don't speak a person's primary love language, that person will not feel loved, even though you may be speaking the other four. Once you are speaking his or her primary love language fluently, then you can sprinkle in the other four, and they will be like icing on the cake. So that's where it's super important to know, mostly like your spouse's, their love language. So I'm going to dive into each one here a little bit, and show examples and actions to avoid. I'm going to start with physical touch, because that is, I've shared in posts with Olivia. Like, my family overall love language is physical touch. So like Olivia, on her terms though, she's got to have her hand next on me, her head on me. Like if she's on the other end of the couch and I'm feeding Madeline, she jumps over to come by me to just be at least touching me, or she'll like nudge over to me. So physical presence and accessibility are important. They love to receive hugs, pats on the back, hold hands, and just be near others. So examples of this are cuddling, holding hands, kissing, sexual intimacy, touching them as you walk by, playing with their hair, rubbing their feet or back, massaging, sitting close on the couch, any reassuring touch. So this is going to be more so towards couples. There is a book specific to children. So there's the five love languages, and then it breaks down into like, there's one for if you're single. So there's one for that, and there's one for children as well. Actions to avoid for physical touch is neglect or abuse of any kind. So using that physical touch in a harmful way and not in a loving way. Touching with love can be an emotional lifeline to reach your spouse. Then the next one is words of affirmation. So expressing your love and explaining the reasons why. So saying just the words "I love you" is important, but sharing the actual reason behind why you love them is most important. And then examples of this, so saying "I love you," telling them the reasons you love them, encouraging your spouse, tell others how great your spouse is, especially in front of your spouse, like hearing them brag on you in front of other people is really powerful language there too. Notes of appreciation and love. So just writing cute little notes to your spouse if this is their love language. Leaving them little notes like in their car or on the counter or whatever. Sending random text messages. Like if you're in a relationship for a while, you kind of get out of those habits of love, like the good morning beautifuls and good night and all that stuff. So throughout the day, sending those random ones. This is one that's still like, my husband is not, he's a man of very few words. So when he does do it, like he gave me a Valentine's Day card and he wrote his own little message in there. So hearing him not just say I love you, but actually explain why was like the best for me. Like my love cup was so full that day when I read that card. So that is something that I have adjusted to. So words of affirmation is probably one of my secondary love languages, just because it's very hard for that's not like my husband's primary love language. So a couple others are complimenting them, acknowledging them when they do good things, things to avoid any insults or criticism. So I know that one thing, like I'm like, if he, I read between the lines in a lot of things. So if there's things that he says in a joking manner, because we do joke around quite a bit with each other, but there's certain things where if it's just been a long day and he just cracks a joke and is trying to be funny, it has the opposite effect on me. So those are things to avoid. But those compliments go a long way, especially just with people out in public or friends. Those little compliments, complimenting someone's shoes or their hair or whatever, those things go a long way. So as I'm reading these, if you like, say in the comments, if you already know your love language, tell me what your love language is below. Or if, as I'm reading them, say what yours is or what your spouse's is. So the next one is quality time. So spending time together while being present and giving your full undivided attention. So turn off the TV and put the phones away and be fully present. So this is one thing. This is my husband's love language. So making sure that after the kids go to bed, and we're just having those few hours before bed, that my phone is upside down or on silent or not in my hand, and we're actually having that quality time together, not just sitting here watching TV or both of us on our phones. It's that undivided attention to each other, because having your phone, even if it's just by you, and this is like a big thing, even if you're like going out for coffee with a friend, or in the intimate setting, if you have your phone on the counter, it's a sign that something else is more important to you on that phone, or you're waiting for something more important. I know it's really hard. We are in this society now where like we live for that. Like if you hear a ding on your phone, like you gotta know what it is, even if it's just like a stupid email. But anytime you hear that ding, like you have to it's so hard to not look at your phone, right? So like, for example, even when we're driving, like when we go on date nights, I don't use my phone in the car. Like it's a perfect opportunity for me to do that, to like, he's driving and whatever, and I can just sit and work on my phone. But he likes that quality time of just being us together, peace and quiet or whatever. So a few other examples of quality time: going for a walk and talking about your day, meeting for lunch, taking a weekend trip away, spending time with the children, pre-planned thoughtful date, family vacation, quality conversation, gardening together, working out together, cooking together. So those are lots of things that we actually do together. So if I'm out driving around with the girls, I'll stop and bring him lunch and we'll have lunch together real quick. We always make it a point to talk about our day when he gets home, usually at dinner. I'm trying really hard to not have the TV on when we're all eating dinner, and just enjoying that quality time together without any interruptions or distractions of the TV or our phones. And then we also got, we used to do Plated. We do Blue Apron now. And that is a good way for us to cook together, because if you're not a cooker, having one of those, there's lots of other options for those, they send you the meals, they give you the recipes, and then you make them together. So it not only broadens your horizon of different foods to try, but it also is like that bonding moment if you're cooking together, and it's just kind of fun to try new things. So a successful quality time activity, one or both of you want to do it, the other person is willing. So if it's not something that you really want to do, like if your love language isn't quality time, but your spouse's is, so your spouse really wants to do this, and you're not really like all in, like not super excited about going to the movies or whatever, like doing it for them, you both know that you are expressing your love to each other through this activity. So trying to do that at least once a month, of going on like a date night like that, like once a month is like bare minimum, but you have to make that time for each other. And you have to try to speak their love language. So actions to avoid here for quality time is distractions, postpone dates, and not listening. So if you have a plan to go to a movie, see a movie together, like stick to it and just go do it. Even if like you're not feeling the greatest or whatever, go do date night. Like it's super important. Schedule it and stick to that schedule. The fourth love language is receiving gifts. So gifts and gestures show that you are known, loved, and cared for. They thrive on the thoughtfulness and effort behind a visual representation of love. So it's the thought that counts here as far as like gifts go. Examples are the big one, an engagement ring, flowers, trinkets with their favorite TV show, animal, or band on it, memento from a meaningful date, bring home their favorite treat, a trip to a place they've always wanted to go, anything they have ever talked about wanting, or the gift of yourself. So those are all options of gifting if your partner speaks this love language of receiving gifts. So it doesn't need to be, you don't need to spend a ton of money on their gifts. It just needs to be something thoughtful. And things that are unexpected, like not just on Valentine's Day, getting them a giant teddy bear and flowers and chocolates, like have it be unplanned and just because. And writing, that kind of goes back to like words of affirmation, like writing a little note is a cute gift as well. Like my husband wrote me 2 notes and put them on my car, and I have them in my car. So receiving gifts isn't my main love language, but it's like, it's always kind of that nice gesture. So like on Valentine's Day, I made that post, like don't compare to what someone else is getting. Like it may not be their love language or not yours, but it goes that night. It's just a nice thoughtful thing. And back to like the first quote, this is like, for me, receiving a gift is kind of just like the icing on the cake. So when it does happen, it's just that heart, like they all feel good, right? So actions to avoid: missing birthdays or anniversary and thoughtless gifts. So those are things that you don't want to do for someone whose main love language is receiving gifts. The best. Yeah, Rachel, that's like, I try to be super, like, especially with my kids too. Like I try not to have my phone on me with the kids, because if I sit here while they're playing, so I try to have like structured time when I'm on my phone and not, like, especially like they're both napping right now, so I can do stuff on my phone. But this is like one thing I'm super passionate about is when they're playing and they look up to me and I'm sitting on my phone, like what message does that send them when they're going to me for that reassurance of just like knowing that I'm watching and paying attention, and not just so like, here's my phone and my phone's more important to me than whatever you're doing. That's a message. It's not true, but that's the message that it's giving. Yeah, it's bad. There's days where it's, we all are guilty of it. So I'm gonna kind of touch on kids' love language here at the end here. So yeah, so the best gifts are the ones that are the most meaningful. If you struggle to know what gift to get them, then just ask. Ask their friends, ask their family members, or ask them. Or if they have like an Amazon wish list, like my husband for Valentine's Day, I say he's a really good gifter, but it's stuff that's on my like, he buys me clothes. And you think that for a guy to buy clothes, it's not going to fit, or I'm not going to like it or whatever. But it's stuff that's on my wish list already that he just goes to and finds. The fifth love language here is acts of service. Hold on. So the things you do to ease the responsibilities and burdens of others. It means a lot when someone goes out of their way to do something for someone else, especially when it's a sacrifice. So examples here: doing the dishes or laundry, washing their car, running errands for them, fixing things around the house, helping them with a project, doing things without being asked, sacrificing what you want to do for them. Actions speak louder than words. Actions to avoid here: laziness, broken commitments, making more work for them. So I would say acts of service is probably one of my, it's up there with my primary love language. I think being a mom, especially stay-at-home mom, anytime that he can do any little thing, whether it's take out the garbage, putting his dishes actually in the dishwasher, not just in the sink or on the counter after I've just cleaned, like those are things that mean a lot to me. So I would definitely say this is my primary love language. It's those little things that really add up, that just ease the burden for me. And like my husband will say like, oh, just tell me to take out the trash, or tell me to put the dogs out, or tell me to do this. Like, you're not nagging, just tell me to do it. I don't want to have to tell you to do it. You know, that's the part of the big piece of it, is doing things without being asked. And it's like, means, it's such a little task, but it means so much to me when he does do those things. So acts of service can be misinterpreted. Communication is key. Ask them how they would like to be shown love. So a big thing here when so if you go to that website, it's the 5lovelanguages.com. There's a quiz there, so find out what your love language is. Find out what your partner's is, because you could be doing, like, buying all the gifts for them, and their love language isn't gifts, so you think you're doing these things for them to show them love, or you're mowing the lawn or doing laundry for them, and their love language is an acts of service. So you feel like you're tiring yourself out and overworking yourself, and they don't appreciate it, but that's not their love language. So I'm gonna kind of finding out what theirs is and making sure that you're speaking their love language. At the end of the day, something that you can ask each other, so show your spouse this too, so they understand this and tell them what your love language is. And at the end of the day, when you're winding down, ask your partner, your spouse, whoever, or your kids, like, what else can I do today to fill your cup, to fill your love cup? Like, what else, what's missing here to help get you that love cup full? Because you may think, like I said, that you've done enough, or it's just that you haven't had time to do anything. So whether it's, hey, can you pick up the kids' toys for me because I'm exhausted and that would mean a lot to me, or can you make dinner, or can we just sit here and talk about our day, or sit here and cuddle, or whatever it is. That is something that can make a big difference in your relationship. Just making sure to ask each other that every night, of what can I do to fill your love cup up? And then as far as kids go, there's 3 things you can do for kids. So when they first wake up, yes, thank you. If this is like resonating, like, give me some hearts here, give me some love. Take people that need to hear this, or that could benefit from this. Take them in this, share it. I think speaking your love language is super, super important. So the 3 key times that you should give undivided attention to your kids, especially, is as soon as they wake up. So right away in the morning, 5 minutes, don't have your phone by you, just give them like direct eye contact, cuddling, touching, reading, whatever it is, sitting on the couch watching TV. Just 5 minutes in the morning can make, like, it's gonna start their day off on the right track. Even if you're like struggling in the morning, feeling super busy, give them 5 minutes of your time. Like, it'll help kind of just readjust you and the mood that you're in. And that's going to set their day up that much better, right? Like, give them that attention for 5 minutes. And then the second time is the second time you see them. So when they get off the bus, when you pick them up from school, again, 5 minutes, put your phone away, don't even have it by you. Ask them how their day went. I did a post about that. I have to do a video about this again. But when You ask when your kids get home from school, don't ask how your day was. What'd you learn at school? Like, I remember being in school and hearing that question, and what do they always say? It was good. Nothing. Didn't learn anything. Like, give them, like, don't ask about their day or school in those first few minutes. Do that later. Like, have them help you with cooking dinner and talk about your day and have that casual conversation. Because when they get home from school, they kind of want to unwind. They don't want to talk about school anymore yet. So say, hey, I missed you. I'm super excited to see you. Like, whatever. Make it not about what they just did. And then later in the evening, it'll naturally come. It'll like, that's like one of my biggest, like, sorry. Think about how you felt when you were in school and coming home, and you always got to ask that question. How was school today? Did you ever like open up and like, if it was a bad day, did you say something? Or if it was really good, you might be excited to say something about it, but save that for later. So spend that 5 minutes, right? That second time you see them, give them your undivided attention. And then the third point with your kids is before bed. Last 5 minutes before bed, give them 5 minutes undivided attention, read a book, cuddle on the couch, whatever. So those are the 3 touch points for kids to share with them. So like I said, if you got some value from this, I ask that you just like give me some hearts, just like, love, share, tag, whatever you gotta do. This is something that I'm super passionate about, and I hope you guys got some value from it and some stuff that you can kind of implement and start using today. And I encourage you to, like Jerry said, yeah, like the love cup. That makes it can make a game changer in your marriage and relationship just by asking that. So yeah, I'm gonna hop off, and I love you guys, and have a great day.